Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Friday. I hope you guys are having a great Friday. Obviously, we have a new month. We're in April, so we have a lot of April Fool's jokes out there today. You won't get one from me. But things I want to talk to you guys about today is Bitcoin obviously filled the CME Futures Gap today, which is great. We've also had the 19th million Bitcoin mined today, so we'll take a look at that, see what that actually means for us and the miners going forward. Riot Blockchain has also provided information that they're going to be issuing more shares, so we got more dilution, unfortunately. And then SEC has once again rejected another spot Bitcoin ETF. We'll take a look at that. And Bitfarms provided their March production update, so we'll take a look at the numbers from them, the spreadsheet that I have for them as well. And I absolutely love Bitfarms for this, but they are always like the first ones to provide this information, which is great. So let's get into it without further ado. As always, this is not financial advice. You know the drill. I'm invested in the following companies and coins. So let's take a look at the miners here. And right now, let's start with Annie here. Annie was actually up today 5.24%. It's up a little bit in the after hours as well. So it finished out the day at $2.21. So it was a good day for those guys. I think most of the guys are up on mining today. Argo was up 5.26% to $1. Bitfarms was up as well, 1.33% to $3.08. Cleanspark was up 2.9% to $12.74. Core Scientific was up 3.28% to $8.50. Digihost was up 1.2% to $3.38. DMG was actually down 1.19% to 55 cents. Hive was down 0.94% to $2.11. Hut 8 was up 0.72 to $5.56. Iris Energy was up 0.83 to $15.80. And Luxxfolio was up 5% to 30 cents. Marathon was up 2.11% to $28.54. Mawson was actually down 1.37% to $5.04. Riot was actually down 2.08% to $20.73. So we'll talk about the story here on Riot on their share dilution. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here really quick. So obviously Bitcoin here has come way down here on the hourly chart. So we finished out at a low of about 44,245. We obviously peaked today at about 46,729. We are now at 46,288 and change, which is good. And if we look at the story we did yesterday on Bitcoin, that there was a gap in the CME Bitcoin futures. We saw that gap here between 44,650 and 46,725. Well, obviously today, looking at the chart, we have obviously filled that gap in here. So between 44,200 some and 46,000, we absolutely filled it twice, going down and then coming back up. So that gap has been filled, it looks like. Going into, let's take a look at the monthly chart for Bitcoin, because we actually have a new month for it, and we are actually seeing the start. We are right now in April, so we have 2 green months here to go back on to. And then obviously this month is starting out positive. We'll see. Obviously we're in the first day of it, but we'll see how this goes forward throughout the month. It would be nice to see another green month on here and possibly get up to the 50,000 mark on the price for Bitcoin. And we've talked about Bitcoin being usually a green month in April for Bitcoin. Historically speaking, I think 7 out of 10 of the last years, April has been green for it. So we'll see how this one plays out. Looking on the 4-hour chart, looks good. Obviously we went up quite nicely on the RSI as well, but we got plenty of room to continue going up. Same thing with the 1-hour chart. We did peak here close to 64 on the RSI chart and have come back down a little bit. Prices have been going down a little bit as well, but this is basically your accumulation phase again, and then we may continue going back up further into the weekend. Next, let's take excuse me. Let's take a look at Ethereum here. So Ethereum's at 34.45 right now. It has been following Bitcoin as well. Obviously, RSI has peaked a little bit higher on it, but it has come down in the coming hours, which is good, which obviously leaves us with a little bit more room to run, possibly up before we get a little bit of a pullback and then possibly going up as well. So weekend will be interesting. We'll see how this all plays out. And let's take a look at the first story here, which is on Bitcoin. So just 2 million Bitcoin left. Bitcoin hits its 19th million Bitcoin milestone. So the 19th millionth Bitcoin was mined today, a landmark occasion for the number one cryptocurrency. 19th million Bitcoin are now in circulation, and just 2 million Bitcoin yet to be mined until roughly the year 2140. So in block 730,002 mined by SBI Crypto, the 19 millionth Bitcoin enters circulation. SBI Crypto earned 6.32 BTC, roughly 293,000 for the trouble in transaction fees and block reward, which is great for them. We got Pump obviously tweeting about it today, and we got people talking about it as well. So total circulating Bitcoin, we're at 19. We got 2 million left to go. And you can see that curve obviously slowing down its growth here coming up. So just for comparison, the 18,500,000th Bitcoin was mined in September of 2020. So basically a year and a half ago. At the current issuance rate is 6.25 Bitcoin per block. The next halving, where the issuance rate is cut in half, is scheduled for 2024. So we're a little bit, less than 2 years now for it. And you can see the Bitcoin having an issuance rate here, which is, we are at the third halving, or the fourth halving actually, where we went down from 12.5 blocks to 6.25 blocks. We're in this group right now. And then we will be in 2 years down to, another cut in half. So there's going to be a huge drop in supply going forward. So every about 4 years or so, we get cut in half until the year 2140, where we're going to be, mining micro BTCs going forward. So this is obviously interesting. It does mean that the price of Bitcoin has to go up in the next 2 years in order to make it not affordable, make it worthy for miners to mine and everything else for them to secure the network. So we've had Bitcoin obviously come back down before, where we went from 20,000 down to 3,000. I don't see that possibly happening this time around. I see that there's just way too much adoption, not only in consumers, but also in institutions as well. So I don't think we're going to see those major drops like we have in the past. We'll see. All right. So next is miner Riot Blockchain. So Bitcoin miner Riot Blockchain files prospectus for 500 million stock sale. So despite this sizable dilution, the Riot stock price has not moved much at the time of publication. It hasn't moved much yesterday or today. It's down a little bit. So in a document filed with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission on Thursday, Bitcoin mining company Riot Blockchain announced that it would be selling up to 500 million worth of common stock to finance general corporate expenses such as working capital, repayment of corporate obligations, capital expenditures and acquisitions, and investing in existing and future projects. So they might be looking to buy somebody out. Right now might be a good time to grow that hash rate quite easily, especially some of the miners that I cover are pretty inexpensive right now, or way undervalued. So after the offering, the company would have more than 139 million units of common stock outstanding, giving it a market cap of close to $3 billion at Friday's prices. The company is authorized to issue 170 million units of common stock in total. So we got a little bit of dilution obviously happening in Riot, which is okay. They're obviously doing a great job growing and things like that. We want to limit as much dilution as possible, but it is what it is. In order to grow, you got to dilute a little bit. Next is obviously the SEC rejects spot Bitcoin ETF application from ARK 21 shares. So the move continues a recent string of denials by the SEC of applications for spot Bitcoin ETF. Here's the main takeaways. So the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has rejected an application for a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund ETF from ARK 21 shares, according to a filing, citing a lack of investor protections. ARK is run by star investor Cathie Wood. The Commission concludes that BZX has not met its burden under the Exchange Act and the Commission's rules of practices to demonstrate that its proposal is consistent with the requirements of Exchange Act 6B5, and in particular the requirement that the rules of the National Securities Exchange be designed to prevent fraudulent and manipulative acts and practices and to protect investors and public interests, the SEC wrote in its decision. Whenever I hear that, I always go back to what happened with GameStop, and there was somebody else, the movie theater chain, where over 100% of the stock was shorted, which was crazy. How is that protecting the consumers, right? They were able to short it all the way down, with over 100% short interest on it, which is just ridiculous. And they're saying that they are here to protect the investors. They didn't do it there. Why didn't people get slapped on the wrist and pay huge fines, or whatever have to do something to make it better on the exchanges, but then you're having to set all these kind of burdens on Bitcoin where price is obviously going to fluctuate going up and down, but I don't see it being manipulated as much as you can have it manipulated in the regular stock market where you can short 100% or more of a stock. So that's just my kind of 2 cents on it. So we'll see what happens with this. Obviously, we got more spot Bitcoin ETF applications coming up. We'll see if they get denied. I believe there was another company, I'm drawing a blank right now. They said that they would actually sue the SEC if they, possibly, if they denied their spot Bitcoin ETF. So we'll see how that all plays out. And finally, we got Bitfarms. So Bitfarms provided their March 2022 production and mining operations update. Love Bitfarms. They're always like the first ones on the first day of each month. They post their information, which is great. Absolutely love it. So Bitfarms has increased hash rate 400 petahash to 2.7 exahash. They reported this when they provided their numbers from their fiscal year 2021 financial results. They did mention in there that they were at 2.7 exahash at that point. I did update my spreadsheet for that. And they are also providing here that they're going to be at approximately 3 exahash within the next week or so. So I've updated for April to go into basically 3 exahash until we get further notice from them as far as if they've grown past it. So here's the information. So adding 400 petahash per second to our hash rate in March, we are rapidly approaching our goal of 3 exahash per second, which we expect to reach within the next week. Driving the increase in our hash rate was the addition of one of our new Sherbrooke locations. Phase 1 of the bunker, which was brought online in March. Another new Sherbrooke location, Ledger, is on the verge of starting production that will immediately boost our hash rate over our 3 exahash goal, which is great. So they're obviously doing a great job getting miners in, getting those installed, building out infrastructure and everything else. So mining production update, 2.7 exahash online, up from 2.3 as of February 28th. 363 new BTC mined during March 2022, up 64% from March of 2021. Great increase there, which is what we want to see. We want to see those numbers growing. 11.7 BTC mined on average in March, equivalent to about 538,000 per day and approximately 16.7 million for the month based on BTC price of 46,000 for March 31st, 2022. And 360 BTC from mining deposited into custody in March. So their total custody is now 5,243 BTC in custody at March 31st, representing a total value of approximately 244 million based on BTC price of 46,000. Mining operations. So nearly 11,000 new Bitcoin miners capable of over 1 exahash have been received or are in transit. This is great. So they got obviously a lot of miners to install within the next couple weeks, months. Hopefully it takes weeks, not months. And what else was there? There was something else, I think. Nope, that was it. So yeah, nice job by them. Let's take a look at the numbers that I have for them. And we'll call it a day, and you guys can enjoy your weekend, and so can I. All right. So a couple of things that have changed. Obviously, Bitcoin's mined was 363, which came out to be about 16.5 million in value. So they increased their production by 65 Bitcoins compared to last month, February, which is great. Good to see that happening. They were 363 back in December at that time, and they were down a little bit, obviously, in January and February. February was a shorter month. January, they were probably shut down for a couple of days because of the cold temperatures and providing electricity back into the grid, so residents in the local areas could have electricity to heat their homes. So that's understandable, but obviously it's nice to see them getting back up to 363, and then hopefully we'll get them up even higher next month, even though hash rate has been increasing, so this is good. Other thing that I've noticed that has changed is, just checked it today, so for 122, notice institutions has gone up to 110. Shares that are basically owned by institutions has gone up a little bit, but percent owned has gone down a little bit. I think it's because maybe more shares were entered into the market. I still have one single buy rating on them with a high, the average and low of 7.99. It is a little bit of an increase from the last time we checked back last month. So that's good to see as well. Now looking at the chart here, so obviously we have the numbers for the past 3 quarters for them, which are here, which we include in our numbers, and then we're also including the numbers for this current quarter, which is January, February, and March, which are numbers for here. and we're pretty close to what they are reporting. Yeah, 11.5 in January. I got them at 11.5. February was 12.8. I got them at 12.4, which is really close as well. And then obviously March is 16.5, and I'm at 16.389, so we're really close to that as well. So that combined is about 40 million in revenue for the quarter, and we'll see how this affects it here in a little bit. But I added in for March the numbers here to get them to the 2.7 exahash, which they reported, which we have them at 2.704, which is really close to what they're reporting. And then in April, they're saying they're going to be about 3 exahash within a week or so. So I have them at 3 exahash here going forward. And that would be basically, these miners were added in March. And so that's 4,600 miners, and another 3,800 roughly in April are going to be getting added in to get them to 3 exahash. They obviously could be higher than that. We just don't know until we get the information from them. So good growth here each month right now. Look at the numbers. We obviously were up on the miners here in March. We increased 4,600, 3,800, which is good. Hash rate difference obviously increased 368 roughly, and then 304 for April going forward, which is really good as well. Looking at the full year here, if everything stayed the same, and the price of Bitcoin that I'm using right now, just for clarification, is right now in the April month, which is 46,292. That's the number I'm using for April. And then March was obviously 45,528, at least the number that I'm using from the exchange that I'm monitoring here. So those are the numbers. And let's go back to Bitfarms. So we got basically 212 million right now possible if everything stays the same, with a price to earnings multiple of 20 and 75% net income from revenue. We're looking at a price. My stock price would be around $12.66. They are right now at $3 and something cents, $3.80. Yeah. So looking at the prior 3 quarters, and then this quarter, we're looking at a total combined revenue of 181 million, 0.6 roughly. Using the 75% net income from gross revenue and PE of 7, that gives us 3.78. So they're basically, price earnings multiple of 7 right now, based on the numbers here that I have. If we get them up to 10, they'd be at 541. Get them up to 15, we're looking at 81. I believe that they are undervalued. They should be valued a little bit higher. But I think they're undervalued right now. So we have that information here. What else can I show you guys? Oh, BTC HODL, 5,243. Current BTC value we're using, let's take a look here. What are we using here? Oh, yep, we're using the most recent number here for it, which I would probably have to update to use the recent number for April, which I'll update that going forward. But still undervalued in my opinion. Great job by Bitfarms, obviously growing to almost 3. Well, they're going to be at 3 exahash this month, so that's great. Want to see that continued growth, and then we'll see how the other miners are doing. We'll start getting numbers out probably next week sometime, Monday through Friday. We'll get a bunch of numbers coming out for all the other miners as well, and then we'll unfortunately have to wait for Mawson. Mawson usually provides the numbers right around the middle of the month for some reason. So then we'll do a miner versus miner comparison on that, and then tomorrow we'll also take a look at how the miners compare to Bitcoin for this week. I think it's going to be a green month for Bitcoin, or a green week for Bitcoin, and for some of the miners as well, which is kind of good. We're starting to see a green pattern develop here, which is what I want. So let me know what you guys thought of all of this, obviously in the comments down below. Appreciate you guys commenting down there. Love chatting with you guys down there as well. And we'll see what else happens in tomorrow and Sunday. If anything else good happens, I'll probably post about it. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful Friday evening and a great weekend. I'll see you in the next one.